Hey guys, welcome back to the letter. This is TJ Gamer Girl signing on. So, last episode, Rebecca finally got all that off her shoulder, and honestly, it was kind of a nice bit of character development for her. So, cool. I'm happy for you, Becca. And it was obvious to Rebecca that, I mean, it's obvious to anyone that he was in love with Isabella. Then we went to the mansion, ended up in the dungeon, found Marianne and got her out. We're on our way to the kitchen now, with her leading the way. Occasionally she'll stop, find perches on the wall to catch her breath, but throughout the short walk, she asks for neither a break nor assistance. I suppose that's something we have in common. Eventually we get to a dead end. Although before I can question her on it, she begins palming for something on the wall, tracing her fingers along weathered edges of the bricks with a frown on her face.
It should be somewhere here, I think.
What the hell are you doing?
She merely holds up a hand, begging for my silence to continue searching. Then, without warning, a few minutes later, something clicks. A portion of the wall shifts ajar to reveal a glimpse of another room. Bottles lining the walls, liquor barrels for aging. The wine cellar indeed.
The ladder to the kitchen is on the far end of this room.
Surreal. This is all nothing but a surreal nightmare, but after everything, should this even surprise me? Ghosts, curses, hidden passages? I can't even bring myself to question the existence of this door anymore. I simply follow her to the undercroft without a single question, in spite of a number of them already swimming inside my head. As a kid, I used to crave this kind of adventure. The stuff of mystery and detective novels, daring chases, interesting cases solved, suspects put behind bars, justice served. I was blinded, I admit. Now I simply want this to be over. We leave the door open in case there's a need for a quick exit, especially after she mentions it's the only chance she has of being able to open the door last time. We can't waste time finding the switch again on the occasion something goes horribly wrong. There's bound to be, with me feeling this high-strung and tense. I'm not even sure why. I thought it'd be a good idea to enlist McCulloch's help. Although she has been quite helpful so far, I can't shake off the horrible feeling that something's going to happen to her if she stays with me. Even if I'm her safest bet, if she wants to get out of this place alive.
You really believe that, don't you?
Did you say something?
McCulloch pauses mid-step, turning to me confused.
I didn't.
You sure? I just heard...
Don't you think I'll be the first person who'll know? Look, the ladder leading to the kitchen's up ahead. You might want to hurry. I just want to be done with this place.
See? You dragged another one.
This time I'm sure. There really is a voice. Well, voices. Despite the look of protest McCulloch shoots me, I find myself stopping and looking for it, searching the immediate surrounding area for the familiar form of the woman. I didn't even have to venture far from where I'm standing. Just an arm's length away from me, mirror shards litter the floor. And right on the biggest fragments, they speak. All singing the same mocking tune against my ears, letting it echo throughout the small undercroft. Murmurs and laughters, jeering, scoffing, deriding, lacing venom into every crevice in my head, taunting me.
You dragged another person into this Ashton.
Into another one of your silly little problems.
All because you can't fix them on your own. You really haven't changed, have you? Some hero you are.
Useless.
Pathetic.
You're wrong.
My mistake lies in this first instance I've answered. The very second denial has slipped from my mouth, the words have also seeped into my heart, allowing it to prod at and rouse my temper. Despite knowing they're merely doing this to goad me, each word, each syllable tickle into me, spurring the guilt I hope I've long buried.
Are we?
Sorry about that.
Or is that simply what you've been telling yourself all this time? Something to make yourself feel better, perhaps?
You're the one who took that letter off Isabella's hand that day. You're the one who opened it.
How does it feel, I wonder, to know you're responsible for all of this?
What do you think I'm doing? Why do you think I'm still trying to fix this?
Oh, but you can't. It's already too late. And you know that. You know all of this is futile.
Just face it, Ashton Frey. You're a failure, and they are the ones who have to pay for it.
A badge and a gun, and you still can't protect your own friends. Can't even solve a case for an old man.
Can't even bring Luke right to justice.
Can't even keep his own family together. No wonder they left you. Before you do the same thing to them.
Mom and Dad are better off without little old you, aren't they? It's a good thing they had the sense.
Pitiful, isn't it? Some detective you are. Some friend you are. Some son you are. You might as well just throw that rank away. You're no use to people either way.
Shut it!
I hate this. I hate how this monster can easily get through to me. Every weakness, every insecurity it knows. To hear it said in my friend's voice, even more so. But what I hate above all of it is...
You know it's true, though.
All of it. It's why all you can do is tell us to shut up. You don't want to hear a single word, because you're already aware of it. You can't even admit it to yourself. Who's the coward now?
But no matter how hard you try, you're not gonna be able to save anyone.
Shut it! Not a single word anymore.
In the end, your own incompetence will eventually lead to the deaths of everyone you care about.
It laughs, sharp and piercing, at its sound something in me snaps. A rage hastily unfurling, red filling my vision. And next thing I know, I'm raising my hand and something grabs my wrist, followed by a buzz as another voice breaks through the haze.
Don't listen to it!
The fog from my mind lifts. Every sound, every noise returns to me, flooding my every senses. All at once, there's this deafening silence. Slowly, I become aware of my surroundings. Bottles of wine, barrels of liquor, the faint old scent of death and decay somewhere, and a hand holding onto my wrist, as if to keep me from hurting myself. In my hands, a shard. Blood drips from where it has cut my palm, trailing down my wrist until it disappears behind my sleeve. Not too deep, negligible even. There is a pain, however, a different kind. An ache somewhere else that stems not from the wound, but where every single word has hit. When I glance up at my colleague, she merely stares at me with wide, horrified eyes.
Don't listen to it! No matter what happens, don't do what it says! It's how it gets us.
My grip on the shard falters, but only after I nod and drop it entirely does she release her grip. Afterwards, she simply steps back and looks away, hugging her arms closer to herself. She breathes a sigh, heavy. Perhaps weighted with her own guilt, what this monster might have used against her.
Come on, we're getting close.
She walks off without another comment, but there's worry in her as she gives the fragments one last glimpse. On the ground, they lie lifeless now. No more voices, no more insults. But even as I walk away, one whispered taunt continues to ring in my ears.
It's useless, Ashton Frey. You are going to die.
And you are going to die alone.
A fear. One that's been long kept in the darkest place in my heart. One that a small part of me wishes for. The trapdoor swings open without much fuss. Wasn't even locked. Probably left open for when Wright asks for some midnight snack. I make sure the coast is clear, of course, before I pull myself and help McCulloch up. The butler of theirs is nowhere to be seen. He's probably sleeping, tending to his master or doing some extra late night work before turning in for the night. Meanwhile, Wright won't touch anything to do with menial chores, not even with a 10-foot pole. It's impossible for him to linger here. No servants, no anyone. And just as easy as that, we're in. Gently, I close the hatch. If things go well, the same path will be our way out. If our luck doesn't hold, that's not an option now, is it? I have people waiting for me. I really don't want to think what might happen. Sometimes it's best if we simply revel in the little victories. The great blessing is when everything else is going against you. And in a place like this, fraught with unknown dangers, it's a feeling that lasts only but a second. Suddenly a sob, ringing out from some distant part of the house, echoing through its empty halls. Beside me, slumped on the ground, pale and breathing heavily, McCulloch immediately tenses. Her eyes go wide, and she grips the side of the counter with a force that might be enough to crack it, if only she has the strength. As it is, she can barely stand. She hasn't fully recovered. Makes sense of the 3 or more days without proper food or water. And it's this weakness that puts the fear in her eyes. She's aware. If something happens, there's a need to run. If there's a need to run, she won't be able to. She's a liability at this point.
Holmes, I really don't think going any further is a good idea. Look at this place. Everything seems fine. Nothing's off. Maybe we should just go? I really don't like the sound of that.
You really don't have to come with me. Just until the kitchen, yeah? We're already here. You've done your part. From here on, I'm going on my own.
Yes, I said that, but...
Can you even stand?
She doesn't answer.
You'll only be putting yourself in more danger if you follow after me. You have an easy way out of here. Stay here. Once you're okay, I need you to get yourself out of this place.
What? I'm not going to leave you!
Well, I'm not taking you with me either, lady. So it's here or out there.
You really are mad, aren't you?
Probably all will be, if no one fixes this little curse problem we have.
You think you'll find something in here? This is just a mansion, for God's sake!
Maybe. It's worth a shot. Besides, if what we're hearing right now says anything, I'd say scumbags.
Who?
Right. He might be knee-deep in trouble and he has no idea about it.
McCulloch still appears as if she's about to argue. So instead of more words, I unholster my taser and hand it to her. A standard issue for every member of Luxborn police force, but it shouldn't take a genius to know how to aim and fire one. Even Isabella might be able to use it without training. Yet Miss Interior Designer Extraordinaire stares at it as if I've just handed her something particularly nasty.
Listen, you want to wait? Fine. I'm leaving this with you. But if I don't come back here within 15 minutes, I want you to backtrack and get the hell out of here.
Are you daft, Holmes? I already told you!
In case something goes wrong, I need someone who can tell people what's going on. Who can tell my friends what might have happened here. They're at the Crawl. You know the place, right?
I trail off, letting the meaning of my words hang in the air. I want to be optimistic about this, really. However, I'm going against something almost everyone can't quite understand. I'm just being realistic with my chances. McCulloch seems to understand this as well after what I've said. Any sign of protest has already died from her tongue, and she simply looks at the taser quietly. After a moment, she just nods. Beyond the walls of the room, the cries continue to grow louder, and I take it as a sign to leave. Without another word, I slip out the door. Like a siren call, her voice beckons. Finding out who that is seems a good way to start as any. I keep to the shadows for the most part. Not that there's any need to. The entire place just feels empty. Odd, when a house this big should have a large staff. You'd think there would be 1 or 2 roaming about for some late-night chores, or someone seeking out whoever's creating this ruckus. There's none, however.
Should they have security posted inside as well?
Unless their security means the butler, I doubt Scumbag's that sloppy. He loves his life more than anything. Probably more than his own wife. And the things he's done? He's bound to make more than an enemy or 2. He's also the kind who will do anything to keep himself safe. Alive.
I wonder what he'll say when he finds out that there's something not human living with him in his own house.
Potential dangers aside, being on my own grants me a greater degree of mobility, which I'm more comfortable with. Sure, I could have enlisted McCulloch's help. Next to the person who owns this, she's probably the only one who's most familiar with this mansion. But the cons of bringing her outweigh the pros. She's better off somewhere where a quick exit's in sight. With no tag-along, I only have to worry about myself. Watch my back. Selfish, I know.
But necessary.
In the same manner as this whole plan is, no matter how idiotic going into this is. Besides, I don't really need a guide when the house's layout is fairly simple. Almost mirrored with only a few modifications in the rooms. Although I've only been here once, I think I already have a good grasp on this place's ins and outs. As long as you can tell which is east and west, it shouldn't be hard to find my way around. After the dining room, the main foyer should be the next thing that greets me. Where the woman's cries are leading me. Honestly, after what happened outside, I'm not even sure if I should be trusting what I'm hearing. But with the whole house somehow seemingly devoid of any of its inhabitants, I'm inclined to look into this. More than surviving this curse, a huge part of this is my training speaking.
I just hope this isn't a crime scene I'm walking into.
But nothing's ever that simple, is it? Not when you're dealing with the supernatural. Nope. Because as soon as my feet crosses to the next room, something shifts. In a flash, nearly without fanfare. Happens in the blink of an eye. I almost miss it. One moment, there's red. And the next, I'm standing alone in the foyer. For a brief instant, I pause. Glancing wildly around the place, blinking twice as if my movements will spur the vision back. Yet, nothing. No blood dripping on the walls, none trailing down the stairs or pooled on the floor, no eyes watching me every moment. Only the same cries gradually growing in intensity the longer I dally, along with the voice.
Mother,
Desperate.
where are you, Mother?
Pleading.
Mother, please. I don't want to be alone.
Coming from the same direction I've heard the cries from. Upstairs. The place is not entirely empty then. A better question now is who? Definitely not Scumbag or the butler. I've yet to see hide nor hair of them, and not knowing their whereabouts puts me on the edge. I have to be careful not to make any noise or be seen. Maybe the wife? Though one can't really tell if it's her. The way the walls echo her voice. Nevertheless, it pushes me to move. Taking almost 2 steps at a time, desperate despite the sickening feeling of something lurking behind every great shadow, every small corner I pass. As if the house has several eyes watching me every moment. As if something alive dwells behind the walls itself. And we're dead. I try to shake it off, but the uneasy sensation has already made home in the pit of my stomach. Dread. And it only grows deeper the closer I get to her. The relative emptiness of the place doesn't help either. Neither does the harsh wind battering the windows, nor the sheets of rain pelting down the roof. The windows are open. That is not good. That's a good way to get the whole floor wet and ruin the rugs. Maybe the carpets too, or the curtains, not the carpets. The relative emptiness of the place doesn't help either. Neither does the harsh wind of the battering pelting down the roof. For a fleeting second, I find myself wishing for Scumbag to simply show up. I don't get too far down into that train of thought. Abruptly, the cries stop, replacing it with,
Mother, please. She's here. She's here, Mother. She's going to take me. She won't leave, Mother. Mother, I don't want to go with her. Tell her to go away. Mother! Mother,
That can't be good. Adrenaline overcomes me in a rush. In no 2 heartbeats, my feet's already moving before any sense can catch up or doubt creeps up to me. My hand's already at the holster as I hastily set off for the far side of the hall. One alarmed footstep after another, while struggling to keep that sense of panic at bay. The door lies ajar at the end of and coming from the floor above.
She's going to hurt me! Help me!
I do not hesitate. Moving in despite the lack of light, the steep stairs or the thick layer of dust kicking up with every step. I only pause a moment upon reaching the top. Then, without a second, I push the door open. She sits in the middle of the room, shoulders hunched, shaking. Her hands cover her face as she weeps, oblivious to my presence. As if she's heard neither my footsteps nor the soft creaking of the door, continuing undisturbed, like I'm standing in a time far removed from her. She doesn't even flinch when I call out to her.
Hey, are you alright?
Mother, I've done it, Mother. Take me with you, please. I can still hear her. She's here. Help me! Help me, please!
Belatedly, I notice the blood on her hands. If it's the same one drenching the whole attic, I'd rather not know. How the whole room has ended up like this is the least of my problems at the moment. Even the single human body doesn't have this much blood. So, bodies? The thought sends an unpleasant twinge in my stomach. Does Wright even know about this? He's bad news, alright, but this? This is beneath him. He'll definitely balk at the sight of it, anyone will. Yet the woman lingers here, unmoved by the sight, letting her sobs fill the room. Repeating the words over and over again like a prayer of salvation. To whom? The mess of parchment she's left on the floor? Just what the hell is happening?
Hey, lady, are you?
The rest of that question never makes it out. I don't even see it coming. Should have been more aware and on guard, really. But there's little I can do when a well-placed blow to the back of my knees makes me stumble. The momentum alone sends me reeling forward. It barely even registers in my head that the woman's gone and the room's normal as can be. Not above the pain suddenly shooting up my side when I hit the floor. I don't even get the chance to get my bearings back when a hard blow to the stomach causes me to buckle down and land heavily on my knees. Gasping, I fumble wildly for my gun. Although before I'm able to turn, level it, and shoot, a hand grabs my wrist and twists it. Hard. A gasp. A grunt. A cry of pain slips past my mouth. The gun falls to the floor with a thunk. As soon as it lands, a foot kicks it out of my reach and slides it uselessly under the bed. Agony suddenly explodes in my chin, triggering a loose, sharp cry of pain, and stars fill the edges of my vision. A brief moment of regret hits me for leaving my taser with McCulloch, when a piece of cloth closes around my neck. Without warning, my attacker pulls, tight. I'm left gasping, choking, and clawing for air, blindly reaching behind me as I still try to fight him off and losing the pressure on my neck. Except any sort of movement only causes him to pull it taut.
My, so many rats scurrying about in this mansion lately.
Wright's butler. Shit!
Tell me, what did you do with the madam?
I have no idea what he's talking about. Did something happen to Hannah, right?
Let go, you asshole.
Now, Doomkopf, you're in no position to be rude. Last time I checked, I'm not the one breaking into other people's homes. Now answer my question. What did you do with the madam?
The pain rings and resonates through my already sore body. Still, I managed to write it out and spit in mutinous.
You.
Keep that dirty mouth babbling and you're getting a knife in the kidney. I assure you it will be more painful than this.
He really doesn't need to threaten me by now. It's all too much to bear at this point. My lungs feels like they're burning with the lack of air. Dark spots begin to fill the edges of my vision. Ever so slowly, the world around me dims. My consciousness rapidly slips away from me, and without meaning to.
Get away from him!
Hearing that voice, as if it's been doused with a bucketful of ice-cold water. Familiar. Too familiar. And more importantly, it shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be hearing it here. She shouldn't be here. Immediately, my eyes snap open. And right there, right on the attic's doorway, stands Isabella of all people. A rolling pin in one hand and a standard issue police taser on the other. My taser. She must have borrowed it from McCulloch. Where else could she have gotten one? I doubt she's ever used one even. Hell, the way she holds it right now, this guy can easily disarm her in one hit. But there's something in her. In her eyes. Although there's a look of fear in them, and her hand shakes, she keeps the weapon trained and pointed at scumbag's lackey. Untrained or not, she doesn't plan to leave here without putting up a fight, it seems. Admirable, really, but it's just not something we need right now. I need her to be away from here. I need her safe. But the chances of that happening grow slim with every laughter that slips from him.
Oh, this is just getting better and better. The Bratwurst won't be pleased with the number of bodies we have to dispose of today, you know. Tell me, how many of you are there? So I can prepare the proper number of bags.
Damn it! What the fuck is going on? Why is she here in the first place? Did she follow me? Who else came with her? Zach? Rebecca? Are they all here? Panic surges within me. She knows how bad the situation is. But did she really have to run in here and expose herself like that? Does she even know how to use a taser? For fuck's sake, more than worrying for my life, it's her I'm concerned about. Getting strangled, dying by choking isn't part of the plan, but her following me here isn't either. This is why I prefer to do things alone. This is why I'd rather be the only one to take the consequences. I don't even want to think of what this bastard might do to her after he's done with me. Though my voice comes off nearly a croak, I try to tell her as much. She has to leave. Stay far away from here and these people.
Don't! Damn it, Isabella! Get out of here!
Another bout of pain erupts in my side, cutting off my words. A cry of agony bursts from my mouth. I can taste blood in my tongue as I heave, attempting to get in as much air despite the towel so coiled around my neck.
Ash?
You're going to lose air quickly that way, Dummkopf. Better keep it shut.
Get out! 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 Val!
Don't be stupid! I'm not leaving you here!
He laughs. Too cruel, too unforgiving. The way each nose beats against my ears in spite of the warmth in them sends chills down my spine. This is a man whose hands have already been stained with blood before. He won't hesitate.
I'd follow his advice if I were you, little girl. What could you possibly do with a toy? Just hand it over and be on your way. It'll probably be too difficult for a little girl like you to use.
There's a moment of silence. Fuck, I can barely keep my eyes open. But in the next second, though I don't exactly understand what's happening, Isabella shouts. Not a cry of pain. Not a yell of panic, but one that's resolute. Firm. Perhaps in a tone that's leagues fiercer than I've heard from her before.
Try me. Ashton, duck!
I do. More out of instinct and desire to survive, closing my eyes before my mind can fully process what's going on. It all happens in a blur. The telltale sound of a taser being discharged resounds through the room. The air crackles. Something whizzes by, almost too close to my ear, following by the thud of something blunt connecting suddenly with another object. The next thing I know, the towel strangling me has started to loosen. I collapse on the floor, dazed and gasping for air. From my peripheral, though, the haze of blood rushing and sound slowly filtering back, the butler buckles. He spasms once. Then, without much of a fuss, falls face first beside me, knocked unconscious by 50,000 volts of electricity and a fucking rolling pin. He'll be off for a while. I have no idea whether I should laugh or cry at that. Somewhere in front of me, my oxygen-deprived brain vaguely registers Isabella's form. She slumps on the floor, also breathing heavily. Right next to her trembling hands, both the taser and the rolling pin lie useless and forgotten, while the mood in the room eases. A long, gradual process of the tension lifting. For countless seconds we remain quiet, only with our short gasps and sighs to fill the silence, allowing the adrenaline to ebb away and both our breathing to slow. Not a true repose by any means, but simply a brief respite. There's still the curse. We're still inside the mansion, in imminent danger. We have no idea how to fix this. Outside, the rain seems to only intensify. Lightning flashes fleetingly somewhere. White and piercing, and the sky rumbles. No rest for the wicked. That was crazy. I'm gonna end the episode here. We'll continue in the next one. Till then, this is the Gamer Girl, signing off.